It's time for Congressman Jim Jordan of Ohio to start writing his resignation letter immediately. Not only for being a scumbag prick, but also for tampering with an investigation which is illegal. This is from rawstory.com, written by Travis Geddes. Jim Jordan busted for helping Trump tamper with probe beyond all bounds of what's legal. Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg rebuffed a Republican House demand to peek inside an investigation involving Donald Trump as unlawful, and MSNBC's Al Sharpton agreed it amounted to tampering. Bragg's general counsel denied the request for documents in an interview with the district attorney by Judiciary Oversight and Administrative Committee chairs Jim Jordan, obviously, James Comer, and Brian Still, all three Republicans and all three trying to protect Donald Trump, calling the congressional inquiry an unprecedented intervention into a pending local prosecution undertaken at Trump's request.
Any man that is up in the middle of the night that is going with this kind of language is scared to death. The problem, though, is in his fear, is that he is inciting people, no matter how small they have become as a crowd, to do something. And if you add to that him having the photo with the bat at a sitting prosecutor, I mean, it's unimaginable. You're right, Joe. No. We'd be arrested for that. And then you have members of Congress, chairmen of committees, telling a prosecutor who is in the middle of an investigation to come and give us the evidence. I mean, they're really tampering with an investigation. This is not an investigation that has concluded. Before we know even whether there's an indictment or a charge, they're saying, bring us the evidence? I mean, this is unheard of. What is Jordan talking about? They're in the middle of a grand jury proceeding. You want the prosecutor to leave the proceeding and tell me what evidence you're giving, and we're going to put it on national television so the target can understand the evidence? I mean, we are going beyond all bounds of what is legal, what's respectful, and we have a man who's scared to death that is up in the middle of the night inciting violence, having a photo with a bat because he's scared to death that he's going to have to face this prosecution.
Trump is scared out of his mind. He's scared out of his wits because he knows the indictments are going to come. If it's not going to be for the New York case, it's going to be for the Georgia case. If it's not going to be for the Georgia case, it's going to be about January 6th. If it's not going to be about January 6th, it's going to be about the documents or all of the above. In any case, Donald Trump has done everything he can to shield himself, not legally shield himself, mind you. He is whipping his frenzied, idiotic supporters into taking extreme action. They've already mailed a white powdery substance, thank God it wasn't fatal or anything wrong or anything destructive. But it only should show you and it should show everyone in this country how frightened this man really is. And quite honestly, and this is my mouth to God's ears, I do not feel the slightest bit of pity for him. You make choices and you have to live with the consequences. Donald Trump has made his choices and now he's being forced to live with the consequences of those choices. But the real problem is that he is pushing people to live with the consequences of his choices. Don't think for 1 second that Jim Jordan and the rest of the people I mentioned in this video are doing this at their own volition, are doing this because they're just doing it for the sake of loyalty to Trump. They're doing it because they're terrified that they lose their golden goose, the floodgates are going to come open. Everything that they've done is going to come out, and Donald Trump is the one who's going to squeal. This has gone beyond loyalty to Trump. Now, his supporters, of which we saw a lot of in Waco, Texas this past weekend, as in March the 25th, they're doing it just for the sake of, I want to kill someone. It's time for me to bust my guns. They've been waiting for something like this to happen and something like this to go down since the original Waco massacre. They've been waiting for this for a long time. They've been wanting this for a long time. And now, thanks to Donald Trump's rants and ravings, his straight up lies and innuendo, they are getting exactly what they want. A reason to start a war that they are going to lose. But as for this particular case here, Jim Jordan, as I said earlier, needs to start thinking about writing his resignation letter immediately. Because the longer this continues on and the longer he tries to obstruct this investigation, or any investigation for that matter, the results for them, morally and legally, will be devastating. Now, Jim Jordan, I got no love for him, but I'm going to give him a small piece of advice. Stay out of this. You have no authority in this. None whatsoever, Jordan. You don't have the authority to interfere with an investigation at the state level. You're a federal congressman. Focus your efforts there. Matter of fact, why don't you focus on the issues that you and the rest of the GOP used? High gas prices, inflation, all that stuff that you say is Biden's fault, that you said you would fix if you were gaining power once again. Why don't you focus your efforts there? But we know you're not going to focus your efforts there because you got your marching orders from your Lord and Master, Donald Trump, which you and the rest of you idiots in the right wing worship as a god. We saw that in Waco. We heard it in Waco. Well, guess what? And this is not me being blasphemous or anything, but let's get something straight. Donald Trump is going to learn the hard lesson, and so will all of you Republican Trump worshipers, that when you claim to be a god, or you're worshipped as a god, don't let any of your worshipers see you sweat. And we're seeing Donald Trump sweat profusely. And I'm loving every second of it. CTP, you know the truth. God bless. Peace to the left, justice to the right.